Episode number 3. Love equals action, not reaction. What I'm getting out by that is that love is not this superfluous, bubbly, butterfly, moving physiological thing alone. It's not just that. It also requires work. It requires energy, and it requires action. Our culture, I think, severely misunderstands love. I watched the movie Interstellar yesterday, and in the movie, one person claimed that there's no social utility in loving somebody who is dead and gone. Actually, I argue that there is, because if you look at the definition of love, love is not only sexual arousal, it's also feelings that stem with sexual arousal between romantic partners. It's also the love that there's paternal love, there's maternal love, there's relatives, there are friends. And when you love somebody, you are accepting all of that person who they are, or at least you're trying to. And in doing that, you're accepting their ideals, you're accepting their influence, you're accepting their insight into life. And you're going to pass some of that on to other people that you deal with. When a friend influences you to go out to a new concert and that place now becomes your favorite band, you're going to pass that music down to your kids, because this is my favorite song. We went to this concert when I was such and such age and such time. That impact that you have on people around you and the impact that they have on you is not to be taken lightly. And love, in its many forms, still requires work, and it still requires affirmation. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle with it. I had a friend once who was in relationship troubles, and he said, oh, it shouldn't be this hard, we shouldn't really argue, we shouldn't have other things like that. You can debate the arguing, because I don't know, some people get a rise out of fighting every day and then making up. To me, that's a thrill-seeking kind of relationship, and that's not necessarily healthy in my opinion, but we can nail on that later on. But he said it shouldn't be this hard, it shouldn't require this much work, and I always wanted to stem with him, well, if you are out and you're in a club, you're in a bar, you're at a coffee shop, anywhere, and you see this person, they come in and they've attracted all of your attention, and you've attracted theirs, that's great, but that's all physiological, and the hormones are released, there's butterflies, there's all that jazzy business, but nothing will happen unless you get up and talk to this person. So love, at its very basest beginning, requires a choice and requires action. And that is not something that, again, you can't take that lightly. And I think because people do, they forget to show love, they forget to show this person that they really care, and it comes off like they love them less. And maybe that is the case in some cases, because then it's like you really don't care. If you're not going to pay attention to when your girlfriend gets her hair cut, she did that for you. If you're most likely, if you're in a committed relationship with this person, she did that for you. And you're not going to take the time to notice what she has done for you when she is, in essence, trying to look good for you, to make sure that you know that she still cares about the way that you perceive her. There is a problem with the way that you understand love. Love requires work. And I keep saying it, and I will keep repeating it. Love requires work. It is not something that just happens. In our society, with films and with music, Habits by Tove Lo, she says, I gotta stay high all the time just to keep from thinking about you, basically. And then in other songs, Shakira's Can't Remember to Forget You, hell, we can pick, I'm just picking recent songs, but we can pick songs from all over the ages. They talk about this confusing love that just seems to encompass everything about life, and it's there and I don't understand it, and it's mystical, when it's really not. Love is a function of work and physiology, pretty much. You feel something and you decide to act on it, and that's all there is to it. You can't choose who you love is a common theme in our society, and it's absolutely incorrect. Because again, at the basis, beginning of it, it requires a choice. And that can't be ignored. That's a fact. It requires a choice. You have to get up and do something about it. If you feel that strongly about a person, and you have to consistently do it. If you start going on dates, you have to put a lot of energy into planning where you're going to go, what you're going to wear, how you're going to look, what you're going to say, how to have an engaging conversation. You are putting in work at each point. It may not seem like it, but that's what you're doing. And if you don't keep that up, it's hard to imagine that the other person will feel that you really care. And that is important. That is, I think, where marriages kind of fall by the wayside. Because there are people where, arguments are, for divorce anyway, that financial difficulty is one of the major reasons for divorce. Well, there's poor people all around the world that actually are happy. The question is their outlook on life. And even though it's not ideal in what I want out of life and in how many kids I want, I could be poor with my wife because she would be that one person who would encompass everything that I want in this world, really. But depending on the society you live in, being poor can add extra layers to your love, to being able to show that you love, because you're never going to be able to go out if you don't have enough money. You're never going to be able to take them somewhere nice. You're never going to be able to treat your family the way that you want to treat them unless you decide to work however many hours you've got to work and do whatever you got to do to get the money to show them. So I understand financial difficulty, but if two people are committed and they truly understand love and they truly understand each other, there's nothing stopping them. I don't think anything would keep them from having a healthy relationship. My goal with this today is to leave you with that phrase, that love is action. Not inaction, not reaction, not feelings, not just feelings. Love is also a verb. It requires energy, it requires work. And if you're willing to do the work, I think you'll have a more fulfilling